a safety short from the ATA Workers' Compensation Fund.
All right, so I'm back. We've been talking about different ways to minimize the risk of chronic low back, chronic shoulder, chronic neck, any kind of chronic injury. And we've been talking about stretching. So I want to show you 2 stretches that you can do while you're sitting on your step here. I want to show you as much as you can do in this truck or around this truck to make your life easy. All right, first stretch, simple stretch. Sit on your step, stretch one of your legs out, reach down and grab your ankle. This stretches from the back of my heel all the way up to my lower back. And I told you earlier that movement is your body's best friend. This is a movement you do not get a lot of in that calf. And it's really important that you do this. I tell all the guys that I work with who are truck drivers and accountants, your hamstrings and your hip flexors are your worst enemies. I'm going to show you 2 stretches for hamstrings and a stretch for hip flexors that are important. Reach down, grab the back of your heel, stretch. You want to hold this as long as you can stay here. And you know what? It ought to hurt a little bit. Nothing wrong with that. Make sure your toes are back when you do this. It just helps with this calf muscle. All right, the second seated stretch I'm going to need to show you is sit. Now, I'll be honest with you. I can't do this stretch with my leg flexed like this. I have to extend my leg a little bit. You want to cross this other leg over. That gets tight. This is super tight in anybody who has to sit for long periods of time. This is how I have to do it. I have to modify. When you get in this position, reach behind that knee, pull your knee to your chest. Stretches your rear end muscles is what it does. Excellent stretch for people who've been on the road for long periods of time. I'm going to move on to some other ones that require me to stand up, so I'll see you in a minute. All right, so I want to show you a few stretches that you can do while you're standing here by your gas tank, which you spend a little time at. You can do these anywhere actually, but this is the best place to do it for right now. I'm going to show you an upper extremity stretch first. Simple stretch. You stand, brace your spine, reach back, grab anything you can grab onto, plant your feet, hips width apart, and just twist away from your shoulder. Now you want that shoulder right at about chest level, not too high, not way down here by your belt, right at chest level. You should feel it stretch all through your shoulder and your chest. You want to hold this for 45 seconds or so, and then you can relax. Now, this gets pretty tight, especially with the postures that we tend to go into when we drive. So that's your standing up stretch here at your gas tank. Standing up exercise for your lower extremity. When I talk to all of the occupational work hazards that I work on who have to sit for quite a bit of time, I tell them your hip flexor is your worst enemy. Your hip flexor starts deep inside of your leg, runs through your pelvis and attaches to your lower back. If you have any chronic low back pain or pathology, it's critical to keep that stretched out. So here's what you do. Please hold on to something so you don't lose your balance. The next thing I want you to do is, if you can, grab your foot and pull your heel towards your rear end. Now, this is a quadricep stretch. It's a great stretch, nothing wrong with it, but I want you to add something to it. And all you have to do is maintain an upright position and push your knee straight back. Now, when I do that, I feel it in my quadricep, just like I did, but I also feel it deep down inside my pelvis. That's your hip flexor. That's how you add hip flexor stretch to your quadricep stretch. Now, some of us won't even be able to assume that position. We're too tight in the quadriceps. So we'll work on that, but while we're working on it, we're going to do it another way. Simple stretch. Place one foot in front of the other, a little more than shoulder width apart. Stay upright, and that's the most important part. We're actually stretching my right leg. So we're going to stay upright, keep my foot on the ground, lean forward onto my left leg, and I should feel that stretch all through the front of my hip. Okay, so that's my left leg. I'll show you on my right real quick. Take my left leg forward, stretch. I keep my heel on the ground on my left leg, and I'm feeling it all through here. if I could get you to do anything while you're standing up outside of your truck, that's the stretch I'd want you to do. If you can't maintain this position for very long, this is a stretch you want to move to. All right. Last stretch that I want to talk about with standing up is a calf stretch. Don't know if you guys know it, but seated positions tend to put you at a high risk for blood clots, deep vein thrombosis, we call them. All right, stretching tends to eliminate that. All I want you to do, same stretch we just did. I'll show you with this leg. Plant your feet just like we did the hip stretch, but on this stretch, I want you to get into that stretch as far as you can and then bend your knee. Now that transfers the stretch to my calf. I don't feel a stretch here anymore. It's in my calf. You want to do this as much as you can. Now, as much as that makes you look like you're doing aerobics at the truck stop, it's really critical for you to do to keep from coming to see me for 6 to 8 weeks at a time to deal with something that could have been prevented.